All right, let's go. Let's go. We are back on the morning show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, JC Parets. We got Spencer Israel behind the scenes, the voice of God, the John Facenda of technical analysis, Mr. Spencer Israel. We got Steve Strazza in the house. Steve Strazza got his camera back. Things are working. We flowing. We got Alfonso in the house. We got Louis today. Crypto Fridays with Louis. Mr. Spencer Israel on the ones and twos. Hit it, DJ. All right, we back, Mr. Steve Strazza. Good to have you back on the show. Nice to have you here.
That was a good intro. Nailed it.
Did I nail that? You thought it was pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, you don't do that every day, so that was good.
I don't. Yeah. I was coming in hot. I want to know what these assholes are going to make up this weekend to tell you to sell your stocks. Right? This weekend, what was the thing this weekend that everybody was crying about? It was
we had the tariffs.
The tariffs, right? Of course, the tariffs.
I'm saying,
what did I tell you guys?
Israel and Gaza. That's what I said.
Right.
That's what you're. So this last weekend, they were crying about the tariffs. I told you whenever they say tariffs, you buy more stocks. It told you that.
Wait, so what happened?
What was the lie the weekend before that? They were lying to you about
we got deep sacked. We got deep sacked.
Yeah. So all weekend, just crying, just bitching and moaning. Oh my God, this is my time. Oh my God, I'm going to be proven right. And you guys are going to now respect me. Nope, you still suck. And then this weekend, again, same thing. Are they going to come back for a third? Are they going to try it again, or are they giving up, Strazza?
I think they're going to keep buying these dips. JC's intro woke my dog back up. Nice. So Spencer, what happened? We own Gaza now?
The MAGA strip? Is that what it is?
I'll be honest.
It's ours now?
I don't know.
I think it's yours.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you got any say in. I don't think you got a vote. No, on a serious note, seriously, they were bitching and crying all weekend, 2 weekends in a row, telling you the market was going to fall apart. Here we are. DAX just made new all-time highs. The NASDAQ 100 is literally inches away from making a new all-time weekly closing high. I mean, it really is spectacular to watch. If you guys are paying attention, this is how markets work. This is very normal. Very normal.
I like how you led with the DAX because nobody's talking about that. And
well, because it's closing now. Like we know.
Developed markets look great. The breadth expansion in terms of ex-US markets has been phenomenal. Yeah. So there are other stocks.
I was told we need to sell our stocks because of breadth deterioration. Is that not true?
No, I think you want to. I think you want to broaden the amount of stocks that you're in. I think there's more opportunities.
I like that. I like that picture of Spencer Israel on his senior prom. Is that your senior prom night, Spencer?
Be nice to me.
Be nice. You look like a gentleman.
Be nice to me.
You didn't look that nice when I saw you last week. I'm complimenting the picture. It looks like you got dressed up, a little makeup maybe. I don't know.
That picture's not that old. God damn.
Hey, JC, are you rooting for the Eagles this weekend? Are you an Eagles fan now, Philadelphia guy?
I'm rooting for a tie.
I know. It stinks that they can't both lose, doesn't it?
I don't hate Kansas City. Do you hate Kansas City? I got no beef with Kansas City.
They're hard to root for. I find them hard to root for. Yeah.
I mean, I like Mahomes. He's a baseball player. I root for baseball players. The best football players are baseball players, particularly the quarterbacks, obviously. I don't hate the Eagles either. I'm not a Giants fan, right? Like, I'm not like a Dallas Cowboys fan. Like, I have no reason to hate the Eagles. I got no beef with the Eagles. I got no beef with KC. Like, I got no horse in the race. Like, I just want to see an overtime game.
Yeah.
Does that make me a bad person?
No. It's I haven't been less excited for a Super Bowl in a long time though.
I guess. I mean, you root against the Eagles because you're a Giants fan, though.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for the Chiefs Sunday.
Like, I mean, I root against the Buffalo Bills, So like they make it easy on me because they, in the old days they used to wait to lose when they got to the Super Bowl. Now they just make it easier on everybody just to lose before they get to the Super Bowl. That's like the new thing there. So
well, Eagles have been the same way. They've lost a lot of Super Bowls over the years.
At least
great
they
at
get
winning
there.
NFC championships. What?
At least they get there,
Listen, whatever. It's the same dynamic, though. You understand how I feel about the Eagles the same way you feel about the Bills.
Can we? Why don't we do a little state of the markets there, Mr. DJ? All right, we got the Dow futures doing nothing this morning again. Nothing. Zippity doo dah. 44,835 doing nothing. S&P 500 futures doing nothing. Down 8 handles, just under 6,100. We got the NASDAQ 100 futures doing nothing this morning. 21,000, 8.5, down 30 handles. 30-year bond futures down 0.33%. That's something. Back under 116. We got crude oil futures up 0.2% to 71. Copper up 1.5%, 4.5. Gold up 0.33%, just under 2,900. Silver up 0.25%, 32.70 with the volatility index back towards 15. Over in funny money land, we've got Bitcoin up 1.3%. That's 1,200 points, just under 98,000. Ethereum 2,750, up 2.25%. Solana just under 200, up 4.5% on the day. Total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, $3.15 trillion.
JC, you forgot about the jobs number.
Yeah,
are they still doing that?
4%.
You don't care about the non-farm payrolls? What's up with that?
Was it the non-farm? I've been waiting for the farm payrolls.
Yeah, not this month.
Does that come out? Is that tomorrow?
I don't know, but 143,000 jobs out of last month.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Below the estimate, 169.
Let me ask you something. Why should I care about other people's employment situation?
Why does the market care about it?
I doesn't seem like it does.
Okay.
Does it? Does the market seem like it cares about other people's jobs?
I don't have the futures open in front of me. I don't know. I can't see.
The only jobs numbers I'm interested in is my own.
Okay.
Right?
Well, when the number just came out, you got a little pippity poppity here.
Pippity poppity.
A little pippity poppity in the interest rates. So
is that what happened?
So some people noticed in the bond market, it seems.
All right.
But now, little bit of action here this morning.
And what's the reason nobody cares about the farmers and how much they're getting paid?
I think we've talked about this.
No, tell me again. I really don't know. What is it about the farmers that they get excluded out?
Did they remove things from these, economic numbers all the time?
Dude, the best is when they say inflation, X, food, and energy.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck else do you buy?
Well, yeah, right. So the number we're supposed to pay attention to, the headline number, just removes the two most important and biggest items. Yeah. Well, recently, have you heard of the new situation? Economists, research folks are complaining that they can no longer get government numbers that they've gone to different government websites to get over the years. They're just not there anymore. Like, for example, JC, we go to the CFTC website, we get the commitment to traders data at the end of the week. A lot of these economic data numbers that they go to these different, Bureau of Labor Statistics websites to go and get, they're just not there. I don't know. And everybody's blaming Elon Musk.
No, but you know what? The truth is, these economists wouldn't be as bad as they are at their jobs if they weren't looking at so many economic numbers, right? These economists would do way better at their jobs if they ignored all that stuff and focused on price, like the actual leading indicator instead of all that lagging shit that they obsess over. Like, they wouldn't suck so much if they looked at what's actually happening instead of what should be happening in theory, right? Am I crazy? I mean,
I wrote about that yesterday.
What'd you say? What'd you write?
Between theory and practice. Do we have that chart? You want to look at a pretty chart?
I would love to look at a pretty chart.
You got time? You got time for a chart?
Do I got time for charts? Psst. Are we talking about the Brozarks?
That's great. And it's also awesome because didn't our bro used to work there?
Well, that's why he was the Brozark. Yeah, Phil Perlman, CMO, I believe, of one Bank of the Ozarks. He did such a good job marketing that they changed the name completely after he left. They're like, they're no more Bank of the Ozarks. We are now just Ozark, right?
Yeah.
No, they took Ozarks all out of the name altogether. It's just OZK now, I believe.
I gotta send him the chart. I forgot that he worked there. Throw it up, Fonz. You should. Yeah. Okay. So these are called flag patterns. You heard of this?
I'm familiar.
Okay. We got two pretty flags here. The first one would actually be a bear flag, right? Because of the trend coming in or leading into that pattern. The little coil shown there at the blue range was down, right? So you would expect that to resolve lower, but it didn't. It shook and it broke higher. Then that resolved into, you get this nice little flagpole, automatic reaction higher, right? Measured out about 10 points, right back into another coil. This time, the trend leading into the coil was up. This is a bull flag. You get a nice shakeout, little false move to the downside, and a ripper. Both of these patterns worked out perfectly, okay? According to the textbook. Someone who's not super familiar with technical analysis might say, what are you talking about? Look how sloppy this is. This is not textbook at all. They went one direction first and then snapped back and went in the opposite direction. If you read Edwards and McGee, where is it? I had it out last night. They write about.
Did you really have your Edwards and McGee book out last night?
Yeah, I quoted it in my post. Drop the link to my. So I went through Edwards and McGee. I went through the glossary, and they mentioned false moves like 10 times throughout the course of their textbook. And this is like the Bible on technical analysis.
This was written in the early 1940s.
And the way they
48, I think it was published, 47.
Yeah, and it stands the test of time. And the way that they talk about false moves is that price moves out of a pattern in one direction and then back into a pattern. But that's not it. That's not the end of the false move. A false move defined by Edwards and McGee ends with a breakout in the opposite direction. Okay. And then you have these concepts like we learned from Luis Yamada, from failed moves.
That was not Luis Yamada. That was Brian Shannon.
From failed moves come fast moves was Brian? Oh, I fucked
100%.
that up. Oh, I gotta apologize to him.
You royally screwed that one up.
I almost texted you about it too.
That was definitely Brian Shannon, not Luis Yamada. Luis Yamada has some great quotes. Most of them came from Alan Shaw, and Alan Shaw tells me that they came from even somebody else before him. Rest in peace, Mr. Alan Shaw. You know Kenny? One of Kenny's good friends is Alan Shaw's son?
I had no idea. No.
True story.
Yeah, that's what Kenny calls the faux show bro, right?
The faux show bro
breakout
ish, not exactly like this, but there's an element of this in his faux show bro.
The bottom line is whether you want to call it a scoop and score,
I like that. I like that.
You know, a shakeout, breakout, a little bull hook, bear trap, false move. We have so many different names, right? Brian Shannon from failed moves come fast moves, but this is it playing out. And when you see it this good, just like exactly the way they teach in the textbook, it just puts a smile on my face. So I wanted to talk about it. They don't always work this way, but when they do, oh my gosh, look at the momentum coming out of these flag patterns.
Yeah. From a little shake and bake. So what ends up happening, folks, for you guys that are trying to keep up here, what ends up happening is like you got people that set their stops below that support. So the price falls below, it triggers all those stops. Short sellers get all excited because they're like, oh my God, this is it. They short the stock. So now what happens a few days later, now you're back above that support. So anybody who got stopped out is no longer in the trade, needs to buy it back. Anybody who short the stock is now wrong. They need to buy it back. Then people like me and Strazza are like, ooh, look at this little scoop and score. Then we come in. And that causes more shorts to have to cover. And that causes more frustrations from those that got stopped out that need to buy it back. And then our friends like me and Strazza are like, oh my God, buy more. And then just all that happens at the same time. And that's when you get the ripper. That's why from failed moves come fast moves in the opposite direction. It's understanding market dynamics. It's understanding the mechanics of the market. And that's exactly what it is.
Yep. Which is why we always say we prefer them when they have that shakeout. Because you tend to get a better move in the opposite direction. When I see a flag without a shakeout, I'm far less excited than when I see a flag forming like that in Ozarks with the shakeout before. And really, you want it to be like one candle, JC, right? The longer it hangs out down there, then you stop trusting the fact that it might snap back. But like one candle, one quick shake, and then they come right back in and repair it. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, no doubt. Can we let's play a game. What was the worst performing sector in the first half of 2024? Takers? Anybody?
Yeah. Energy.
Utilities.
Energy.
It was actually real estate, but outside of real estate, of like the actual sectors that matter, because real estate clearly does not. It was consumer discretionary. Worst
Oh,
sector, worst performing sector in the first half of last year. Now, if you would throw up slide 2 there, Mr. Israel, this is what the last 6 months look like for equities. And the best performing sector is, wait for it, consumer discretionary. Do you know what we call this? We call this sector rotation. And I don't know if you heard, but sector rotation is the lifeblood of a bull market.
you know,
I believe that we're in. I don't know how you guys feel, but this feels like a bull market to me. I'm going to the Poconos, dude, this weekend for the Super Bowl. We got a big house in the Poconos.
that's awesome.
Wasn't cheap.
That's awesome.
Bull market stuff. You know, bull market house. It's got a hot tub. It's got a game room.
The Pocono Bowl.
Morgan had to sign us up for it because I'm not allowed to use Airbnb. You know,
You're still banned from breaking
banned.
everything.
Yeah.
Well,
It wasn't my fault. We talked about this.
that's hardcore though. That they haven't let you back. It's been years.
I haven't tried, to be honest. I just use my wife's account because she's always like next to me, you know, when we're doing this sort of thing and together. Like, you know, when you're a married man with kids, like you don't just go off and get random Airbnbs by yourself. It doesn't work that way, you know?
That's no fun.
Well, you know, we have different kinds of fun now, right?
Listen, it's great to see that financials have become growth stocks. Shout out financials.
Shout out financials. Do we have bull markets without financials, Mr. Strazza?
I don't know. I'm torn on that one.
Dude, the great quote by Mr. Steve Shobin is that financials are the bodyguards of the stock market.
Ask me in 5 years. But
dude,
boy, do they look good.
Your conspiracy theories about like bank stocks is just wrong.
I don't know. It doesn't make me bearish.
It better not.
I've been super bullish banks for some time. Probably too bullish because
you're the one who brought out the Brozarks to start the show.
You know how I feel about the banks. I think financials are great. I think financials of all of the different sectors probably have been the one with the best breath since last year. Really, everything is working.
Wait, speaking of financials, did anyone see Josh Brown's pitch to Al Michaels on CNBC?
I saw it, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
What did he do?
He gave Al Michaels was on CNBC on a halftime report. Josh gave a great, like, old school broker cold call you over the phone pitch from Moody's. It was wonderful. It was great.
To Al Michaels?
Yes, to Al Michaels.
Stock?
Yeah, on MCO Moody's. It was wonderful.
Why? I gave him that stock, by the way.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Why did I didn't know he was going to do that. Why did he pitch Al Michaels Moody's?
They have a thing. And so Al's a huge fan of Josh.
Al Michaels is a huge fan of Josh Brown?
Yes.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
No, they have him on all the time. He's like a stock junkie. He's a really fun guest.
Go watch. It's on Josh's Instagram. It's on YouTube. I'm sure. Go watch it. It's very funny.
We should get Al on.
For sure.
Can you get Al Michaels on?
I'll do my best.
That is really funny. I want to get back to what we were talking about. Go back to the performance over the last 6 months because it goes beyond what we're seeing in consumer discretionary. There was a time, Mr. Steve Strazza, there was a time where communications was in the top 3 worst. It was in the top 3 worst sectors for 5 quarters in a row. I think it was either the worst sector or the second worst sector for 5 quarters in a row. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then holy shit, how communications have come back after that.
But remember what was happening? Facebook was literally falling off a cliff.
And Google wasn't doing well too.
Facebook was the worst stock in the market.
Yeah, because
Of
they
that
changed their
size.
name. They were getting into the metaverse, and like this is when like Zuck was still woke and stuff like that. And then it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he totally redeemed himself.
Now he's super cool. He hangs out at the White House with Elon Musk. He was there
Dude,
again yesterday.
he's got like the Jerry curls going.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, he's
saying?
killing it.
Little
He
like
d
Ice Cube 1980s Jerry
Yeah.
curls.
Yeah. Boys in the Hood, like, he looks so Hollywood right now. He's
He
just
does. He's got the chain.
I'm happy for him.
He does like the Joe Rogan thing, what the kids listen to these days, right? He knows what's up, right?
Hey, who has time to listen to that show?
Dude,
It's
it's so
like
long.
4 hours long.
No, I'm like one of the for Joe Rogan. I look at Joe Rogan like Tim Ferriss. Like I don't particularly care for either one of them. Like they're fine. Like they're interviewers as far as I'm concerned. Like so I watch those when their guests are somebody I want to hear from. You see what I'm saying?
Tremendous interviewers. Really.
Right. But they interview
great.
like Brazilian jiu-jitsu people. Like I don't care about that. Like
I never know who the guests are. It's always some strange like mushroom doctor.
Yeah. So like, but every now and then they'll bring like somebody who like I'm generally interested in. You know, like they had Joe Rogan interviewed Raekwon the other day. That was cool, right? Shout out Wu-Tang Clan, 36 Chambers. You know why the album is called 36 Chambers, Mr. Steve Strazza?
Isn't it like some sort of gun reference? I don't know guns.
Has nothing to do with guns. But it's a good guess. Valid guess. No, there are 36 neighborhoods in Staten Island. And that is why.
Oh, no shit.
Fun fact. Fun fact of the day.
You know, you have a lot of old school hip hop fun facts. You're full of them. You really
My
are.
college roommate sophomore year was from Staten Island.
You're like
they are a weird breed there in that island. Yeah. They are. It is something.
I've never been to Staten Island in my life.
You've never been to Staten Island?
I don't think so. I might.
Good eats in Staten Island. I mean, they're like it's like this it's like a strange breed. Like they're like
I also have never been to Staten Island before.
Right? It's right there, but I don't think I've
not
ever
from New Jersey, and like they're almost like not even from New York. They're like this like
driven through it.
I will say, as a heterosexual male, the female population there is not subpar, right? So they're talented island, and
I get it.
A lot. It's a lot though. It's a lot to handle there. But the food. You know, I'm a dumb Cuban that didn't know what cannolis were until I went to college, right? Because I don't know. We had croquetas. We didn't have cannolis.
Yeah.
So I go to college in Connecticut, Italians everywhere. I get taken to Easter in Staten Island. I'm playing stickball for the first time. Never played stickball before. Here I am playing stickball in Staten Island. They bring out this massive cannoli. It was like the mother of all cannolis. And then like the grandma comes over, opens the cannoli, and there's all these little mini cannolis inside. I was like, my head was exploding. I'm calling my dad. I was like, yo, how come you never told me about these cannolis? He's like, some things, son, you just got to figure out for yourself, you know?
Cannolis are a truly special treat.
Yes, indeed. And you know, when they do it right, where they don't fill it in until you order it, right? And they keep the crust nice and solid.
It gets soggy.
They get soggy, right? So they fill it in to order. Like that's how to do it. That's how. Humans don't know nothing about that.
For sure. All right, that's enough of that. We have Louis Sykes here. We'll have Kenny join as well.
Bring them out.
Do we want to? Well, I was going to ask you. Do you want to do like Amazon before that? I mean, we have Amazon had earnings last night, and we should.
It was nothing burger.
I heard somebody on the TV today say Amazon. The story here is they're growing into their valuation. Haven't they been growing into their valuation for 20 years now?
I like how they make money by accident.
The story that I'm seeing is that their growth rate is that it's going to be at its slow from their own guidance as its slowest ever in their history. But
I thought their earnings growth was absolutely knockout.
No, the forward-looking guidance.
Oh,
yeah. But they are gonna. I think they just supplanted Walmart in terms of the highest revenue.
Amazon's a powerhouse. All these companies are, and you've gotten a bunch of earnings dips, and a lot of these names, like across the board, Microsoft, Google, some nice dips there too. Nvidia's bouncing back.
Shall we?
For Louis?
Please?
Yeah, Louis, are you here? You're coming? All right, we're doing it. Let me get my Louis video.
Do it.
toes.
Lou Dog.
Hi.
What's up, my man?
Lovely to be talking to you.
Let's talk about. I want to talk about this. The 100.
The 100. What's the 100? Fill me in.
So we are talking about sorry, not the 100, the 30, the CCI 30 crypto index.
Mm-hmm.
I get confused.
I'm familiar.
Ours is 100. Theirs is 30. How should we view? So first of all, explain to the folks how CCI 30 is calculated, and should we be taking the weakness from the altcoins as a negative, or should we be looking at the relative strength in Bitcoin as a positive? Like, how are you? Through what lens are you viewing this? And walk through what we're seeing first.
What we're looking at here, so the black line is just a basket, a market cap weighted basket of the 30 largest cryptocurrencies. And so there's been a really interesting development this week where we've had this massive sell-off in altcoins. Ethereum down 50%, most altcoins down 50%. If you, I brought a chart of what the average altcoin looks like. It's down about 55% off its highs in November or December. And you just look at just how it's just sold off vertically, right? But then you've got Bitcoin on the other hand, that is consolidating constructively. It's still above 90K, still trading near 100,000, but the average altcoin is just getting absolutely slaughtered. And so I think what to make of this is that we've just seen a tremendous amount of liquidations. Beginning the week, we saw a lot of these things just get absolutely slammed. Here we're looking at the amount of liquidations, which are essentially margin calls. These are people getting forcibly taken out of their futures positions because they were on excessive leverage. Now, we really didn't see these levels of liquidations and this sharp of a drawdown in a lot of alts going back to the FTX crash of 2022. And every time we see these liquidation events where we get all these traders that are just getting taken behind the shed in massive numbers, that generally corresponds to the end of one stage and the beginning of another. And so when I'm looking at a lot of these charts, JC, we haven't had any volatility in stocks, right? Stocks are consolidating constructively below all-time highs. No real stress in credit. Commodities, I mean, gold's at all-time highs, right? There's really no volatility or stress out there. But where there has been volatility has been in crypto. And so that to me is really interesting. And then when you combine that with the fact that the worst traders on the planet just got taken behind the barn in record numbers, I'm looking at that going, hey, look, a lot of people are seeing fear.
Can you explain what that means exactly?
Yeah, so what I mean is that when the market is really good, when things are really good, people's emotions start kicking in. They start getting greedy and they go, man, I'm up 2x, 3x on my basic spot positions. What am I going to do? Now, the rational thing would be to say, hey, I'm actually up 2 or 3x and the market's already rallied, right? So I'm just going to take a little bit off. But that's what people don't do. Instead, what they do is that they look at the market trading up. They decide to buy these crazy altcoins on leverage. They literally take out margin. In some cases, 10 to 1, 20 to 1, even 100 or 500 to 1 margin on these random altcoins. And then when the market pulls back normally, like markets do, they're forced to cover. And then that drives the price even lower. Then even more people are forced to cover. And then it drives the price even lower. And you can see where this is going, right? It's a bit of a snowball effect. And what happens is you just get this massive liquidation event, almost like a bit like a bank run. And you just, the market sells off really aggressively. And 9 times out of 10, when you see these mass amount of liquidations, what generally tends to happen is that the market just trade sideways for a few weeks or a month or two, and then ultimately a bottom is formed, because this is really the peak of bearish sentiment, bearish positioning, particularly in the context of a bull market, right, where dips are generally being bought. These liquidation events, this is generally where we see the end of one stage and the beginning of another.
And then this is only data that we wish we had in TradFi markets, but we can literally see the cost basis of every participant in this market, and we know for a fact that whether they are being liquidated or not.
Yeah, precisely.
And so is this just crypto markets showing the TradFi bros how the future of finance is going to look?
It's really interesting, and I want your perspective on this, that normally when we get these sell-off events where you get these mass amount of liquidations and people getting margin called, Bitcoin is also down in the trenches with all these other altcoins, but this time is a little bit different. And you really saw that divergence play out in the last bear market that began in March of 2024, where the average altcoin was down about 70% at its worst in that March bear market, but Bitcoin was only about 20-30% off its highs. And then again, we're seeing the same thing here. Bitcoin is trade. If you put up a chart of Bitcoin in the S&P 500, they're pretty much the same, right? Where you haven't really seen any volatility. Like, sure, you saw a little bit of volatility beginning this week, but generally, Bitcoin's been trading sideways. We have seen that volatility is actually down the cap scale, and it's actually ETH and below. So as the second largest crypto and below from a market cap standpoint. And so, JC, I'm going to put it on you. Does that point to Bitcoin's maturation, where you're seeing Bitcoin trade like a mature traditional asset, and then crypto, and then the rest of crypto is just trading like crypto?
I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that.
I mean, you're seeing it in the price action, right? I mean, Bitcoin is trading almost like the S&P 500, where it's still trading sideways, but virtually everything else in the crypto space has just gotten absolutely slammed. So, I mean, there's something to be made out of that.
You know, I mean, I've been hanging out with these crypto bros for a decade plus, and there have been more crypto bros over the years that are coming in, and you know, I learn a lot from them, and you know, some things they say I laugh and everything, but like, you know, what if there's something to be said about, you know, Bitcoin is different than the others? And I'm pretty sure you feel that way anyway, right?
Well, it's not necessarily whether I view or whether I see it that way. It's just it's actually being reflected in what's happening in the price right now.
And when you look at the market capitalizations, you're looking at Bitcoin right now at 2 trillion, Ethereum's 3.25, like 300 billion and change. So, I mean, we're talking about a massive difference. And then you go to Solana, now you're under 100 in Solana. Binance, you're at 80. Doge, you're at under 40. So, like, you know, you quickly fall down that cap scale real fast. Like Bitcoin, you know, really stands out on its own in terms of market capitalization. Do you think these things will ultimately catch up, or do you think that Bitcoin's dominance can remain in place, you know, in perpetuity, like it actually being different?
Well, I'm not really sure looking ahead for a few years, because that's a very new market. But what I
Yeah, who the
can
hell
say
knows
is
what's going to
that
happen next week, right?
yeah, exactly. And but what I can say is that a lot of these altcoins that have experienced this mass liquidation event, I think generally that's where the opportunity is going to lie. Not necessarily in the next few weeks. I think the next few weeks is probably going to be prone to a lot of head fakes, a lot of just sideways choppy action, because that's very standard after these events. But what I wouldn't be surprised to see is this is as a lot of these coins catch up after this event, catch up to Bitcoin, begin trading back at their all-time highs. And so I think there's an argument to be made that there is a catch-up trade, perhaps in 2025, the first half of 2025, for a lot of these altcoins that have just got absolutely slammed.
And can we talk about the Bitcoin dominance, right? So, like, the Bitcoin dominance has really just been a BTC ETH ratio for all intents and purposes, right?
Yeah.
Um, like, how do you think about that? Like, at what point do some of these others start to play a role, like the Solana or some of the others? When do they start playing a role and eating into that versus it just being an Ethereum story?
I mean, have you guys checked out the ETH BTC ratio? You know it's bad when even Coinbase on their Twitter account is making fun of ETH for being so bad. So I think you're already beginning to see that, where the second largest in the asset class has just been in straight decline relative to Bitcoin and Solana and virtually everything else now since the merge. Which, I mean, how hilarious is that, right, JC? We see this all the time in markets where there's some important event, everybody's looking forward to it. ETH is going from proof of work to proof of stake. Oh my God, this is the best thing ever since sliced bread. And then what happens? ETH BTC puts in a top, and Ethereum becomes one of the worst crypto places to be in terms of the quality altcoins within the asset class. I mean, how hilarious is that, right? And so I think you're already kind of seeing that where there's others. Solana's beginning to play a role. Ripple was at $200 billion in market cap. Yikes. But it was still playing a role there. And so I think over time, you're going to see that market cap concentration begin to dilute over time. I think it's only reasonable. And I think that's a bit of a longer term trend.
You know, when I think about the asset class and I think about where we are in the market, and, you know, if you've got new money to put to work, which I know a lot of people do, you know, how do you think about it? How do you think about that allocation into the stock market? How do you think about that allocation into crypto? And then even within crypto, you know, if you want to own relative strength, you buy Bitcoin. But if you're looking for weakness, which as things are going parabolic, everyone's like, well, I'm going to wait for the next dip. Well, here you go. Right? So the old question that we always ask, you know, crypto or otherwise, is do you stick with the leadership and buy the leaders, or you bet on the rotation and look at some of the ones that have gotten beat up? Or do you do both? And generally our answer tends to be both, is the truth. How do you feel about it in this particular situation?
Is this more from a core holding standpoint or a trading standpoint?
You know, just think about it. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess from an intermediate term time horizon, it's not so much like a set it and forget it as it is, you know, like real allocation, you know. I don't know. Like now,
Well,
going into the spring, for example.
JC, the way I think about it is with my crypto trading is that Bitcoin is going to be my primary position in a lot of these things. And it comes back to what I said before, where particularly with what's happened in the market over the last week, I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunity for a lot of these altcoins to begin catching higher. And so I generally prefer now, after this explosion and a lot of traders and a lot of leverage, I think there's a better opportunity to be made in a lot of the altcoins moving forward into the first half of 2025. I think that's generally my base case. And again, I think it's not going to be a trend that begins tomorrow. I think it's going to be a trend that takes a few months at least to begin playing out. So this trend of Bitcoin dominance could continue to trend higher. That wouldn't surprise me, particularly as a lot of these things begin to digest now what just happened this week. But I think looking beyond that, I think it makes sense that a lot of these things begin to catch higher. And then again, it comes back to the question of where are we in the cycle? This is the question that a lot of people ask in crypto, because crypto tends to follow these almost calculated cycles over time. So generally what happens, and this is any market, it is the speculative end of the market that generally outperforms at the later stage of the cycle. And you see this all the time in crypto markets. I don't think there's going to be any different. And so we're generally entering into the late stage of this bull market. And I think it makes sense that if we do get that final push, that final hurrah in this bull market, I think it makes sense that you see a lot of these altcoins and a lot of the speculative end take advantage of that.
So there's no way this cycle ends before altcoin season.
I mean, never say never. This has certainly been an unusual cycle as far as crypto is concerned.
Why? Why do you say that? Why has it been an unusual cycle?
Because you've seen just the relentless outperformance of Bitcoin this entire cycle, which hasn't happened. You generally tend to get that beta down the cap scale, and the altcoins lead. You haven't seen that this time.
And if someone's going to want to put money into Bitcoin, do you think it's better? Let's say in the TradFi markets, right? Take blockchain out of the equation, which is hilarious in a crypto conversation, but work with me here. TradFi bro comes into work today or Monday and needs to put assets in crypto. Do you go IBIT or do you go MicroStrategy?
IBIT.
You go IBIT, not MicroStrategy, and why?
I understand what you're saying, that there's this potentiality to make a higher return because
Leverage 2
MicroStrategy
to 1,
is
2 to 1.
yeah, and so MicroStrategy is almost that levered play. But if my brother or if someone who I know is interested and is invested and they want a little bit of that extra crypto exposure to get that juice, I think IBA is completely fine, and it's the preferable vehicle.
Is there a
if you just want that
2x?
crypto
Is there a
exposure.
2x Bitcoin ETF?
I'm unsure about that.
'Cause if
I
there
feel like
isn't-
I feel like you're certainly going to see that, and then the question is how would that eat into MicroStrategy's demand over the time? I'm not sure, but I want to ask you what do you think about all these MicroStrategy magazine
BITU,
covers that you're seeing?
Ultra. It's BITU, Ultra Bitcoin ETF. What could go wrong?
Well, what are you thinking about MicroStrategy changing from strategy and then the newspaper headlines or the magazine covers? I mean, it comes back to what I said before.
I got to
we're
tell
certainly
you.
not-
I got to tell you about this Forbes thing. You know, the Kardashians. The Kardashians were on Forbes, both of them. The rich ones anyway. They were both on the Kim and then the other one, the one with the makeup. What's her name?
The one with the makeup.
Not Chloe. They're all in makeup. Not Chloe. What's the other one? Kylie. Is it Kylie? I think Kylie. They were on the cover of Forbes. If you would have shorted them, you would have gotten ripped. Your face ripped off. What about Zuck? Zuck was on the cover of Forbes. Meta's absolutely exploded since then. I just don't look at that Forbes thing as you know, or the change in the name Kylie. There you go. Rachel knows. Of course, Rachel knows. Way to fall in that trap, Rachel. I see you. No. I don't know. I wouldn't look at that as a catalyst. Like, yeah, maybe a year from now we look back and say, "Oh, funny, haha." But like in real time, you know, I call it out when I think that there's something there. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it comes back to
Not
what I said
Kendall.
before,
Not
where
Kendall's the hot one, right? Kendall's like the model.
I don't know, brother. I don't know. I think it comes back to what I said before, right? Where we are entering into the later stages of this crypto bull market. So it's just this is the sort of stuff.
Why do you think that
you
these are the
see.
later stages?
When just looking at our cycle indicators, coming back to what you said about profitability, how you can have a look or you can evaluate investors' profitability and how much is on the table. Generally, that corresponds to a pretty good gauge of cycle analysis. And so on this most recent rally, a little bit above 100K, we just hit just below 3x. So the average Bitcoin investor was holding a 3x unrealized return. And so generally that begins to top out around 4. So we're definitely not early stage. We're definitely not middle stage. I think if we get this Bitcoin breakout above 100K definitively, I think we'll be transitioning definitively from middle to late stage. And so I think this is the sort of stuff that you see near the ending periods of bull markets. Now, what it could happen is that this whole MicroStrategy, because obviously he's a Bitcoin maxi, right? What if the topping signal that everyone's looking for is not actually in MicroStrategy, it's not in Bitcoin, but what if the topping the topping signal is actually in Bitcoin dominance? That's one to think about.
Is Bitcoin dominance falling a bad thing for crypto?
I'm not sure about that.
I don't think so.
I mean, when you say a bad thing,
does that price line go down? Right.
Does line go down?
Yeah.
Do we lose money if
Bitcoin dominance comes off?
I think if Bitcoin's breaking out and Bitcoin dominance is trending lower, I think we are about to see an explosion in an altcoin season.
And if Bitcoin dominance continues to rally, that is negative for the space.
No, I wouldn't say it's negative. I mean, Bitcoin dominance has been rallying this entire cycle, right? And there's still been a tremendous amount of opportunity. So I don't necessarily say that's negative. I think it's, instead of saying it's negative if it goes higher, I think it's overwhelmingly positive if it's trending lower in a scenario where Bitcoin's breaking out, but I don't think the reverse is necessarily true.
What is the best equity vehicle for the crypto space? Would you say Robinhood?
No, I mean, okay. Well, when you say best, I mean, are you talking about pure play, best from a return standpoint? It's what I mean, from a pure play,
I'm thinking about crypto from a TradFi perspective, right? I know we have a lot of TradFi folks in the audience that are not YOLOing on the blockchain. It's fine. You should try doing some YOLOing on the blockchain. You'd be surprised how much money there is to make. There's some opportunity there. But from a TradFi perspective, like bringing it back, you know, we've got a lot of financial advisors. We've got a lot of TradFi bro traders and TradFi gals, for that matter. So thinking about it like that, I mean, we have been classifying Robinhood as a crypto stock for quite some time, have we not? For good reason.
Yeah,
and correct in that.
Yeah, I think it's probably more of a crypto adjacent stock where it's not a pure play. I think if you're looking for that pure play and you want to bet on crypto from an equity standpoint, and I know Strays is certainly going to agree with this. If he came in here, he would certainly say Coinbase. And I have
Coinbase looks like MicroStrategy. It looks like, I mean, Coinbase looks like the others. Robinhood looks stronger. That's why I said that.
I mean, if you're talking about a fundamental standpoint, right, it's certainly the bet on crypto. It's a bet on crypto activity, whereas MicroStrategy is simply just a levered Bitcoin play. And so I think there's a big difference between the two. So if you're going to ask about what's the best, I'm not really sure what best means, but I think Coinbase is a really good option if you're looking for that broad-based play in crypto.
Before we let you run, Lou Dog, what stands out, do you think, out there in the market, in crypto land that no one's talking about, you think?
I think I'm seeing a few comments here talking about the Bitcoin strategic reserve and sovereign fund and Trump. And I think a little bit of perspective is required here. So a lot of people are looking at individual headlines. Strays and I were talking about this earlier this week. And they're looking at these individual headlines, and there's a lot going on, admittedly, within the crypto space and within the news cycle right now. But I think it's important to zoom back, to zoom out and realize where we are right now, where, again, it comes back to what's happening with positioning. You had that massive wipeout, and now you're going to see, or chances are, my base case is that we're going to see this period of ranging, of head fake, of messy price action. And so I think it's going to get really easy to get caught up in the news cycle in that event, where a headline could result in Bitcoin rallying, or a headline could come out the next day and Bitcoin selling off. And so I think being mindful of that with the news cycle going on, and rather than just being too close to the canvas right now, just taking a step back, just realizing that the news cycle and what's happening from a political and regulatory standpoint is actually really positive, broadly speaking. And so I think it's important to have that perspective rather than getting too myopic about individual headlines.
And you think having a crypto czar is a negative, a positive, or neutral?
I think it's certainly positive, right? Because from a regulatory standpoint,
I think so.
From a regulatory standpoint, it's been a mess, right? If you're developing a cryptocurrency, you're not really sure where where your project fits in. There's no real clear regulatory framework, and so it's like, how the hell can you actually operate a new and emerging industry without a clear framework? And so I think, generally speaking, comes back with what I said before. The trend from a political and regulatory standpoint is obviously very bullish, and so rather than being too myopic about individual headlines, having a little bit of perspective about the price action, where we are in the cycle, and where we've just come from over the last week is really important.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Louis Sykes coming to us from New Zealand. We need a portfolio accelerator in New Zealand, do we not?
Hey, I've been saying this for a long time. And I think, come to Queenstown. Hey, you said that you want to go skiing on one of these events.
Yeah.
Queenstown, that would be fantastic. And then I could take you for a tiki tour and show you around the country a little bit, perhaps. It'll be fantastic. But hey, I'm certainly looking forward to the next one. No matter where we hold it.
You had a good time last week in New York?
It was great. I mean, a Kiwi in New York. It's my accent stands out a little bit. It's the food is great. I mean, the first day I got there, got the Prince Street pizza. They certainly don't have pizza like that back home.
Tell me what you're doing this weekend in an American accent.
JC, man, I don't know. Probably go for a nice little drive, hang out with some family, man, eat some food. You know, and every time I talk in this American accent, I notice that I tend to have this Southern twang.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just easier if you're a Kiwi trying to imitate the Kiwi accent. I kind of want to see what chat thinks of my accent. I think it's quite good for a Kiwi.
Dude, so good. So good. I love it. I don't know who makes me laugh more, you or Kenny. Louis, thank you for being here, my man. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday. YOLO responsibly.
Cheers, JC. Have a good weekend, guys.
Adios. All right. Shout out New Zealand. Louis, I forgot to thank him just now. Louis brought me a bottle of a lovely Pinot Noir from the South Island of New Zealand. Folks, I highly encourage you. I am not, to be clear, I am not a New World Pinot Noir drinker. It's generally disgusting. However, the Kiwis do a hell of a job there in the South Island. Cooler, right? Southern hemisphere. So as you go south, it gets colder. So Pinot Noir, you know what I'm saying? Generally, you know, like that California Pinot Noir. Oh, I don't know how people drink that shit.
How is it that Sean still doesn't know how to spell Louis' name?
I don't know. I think fat fingered.
And what's a bikini burger? I feel like I don't know enough about this.
A bikini burger. I think that is when you eat a burger while wearing a bikini.
I've never had one then.
Or maybe you're eating a burger with a girl in a bikini. That you've done.
I was thinking something else. Okay.
All right. I don't know. The chat wants to know if I am still on that Amarone della Valpolicella. And the answer is that is a lifetime of drinking. I will be drinking that wine for the rest of my life. And if you are not drinking Amarone della Valpolicella, your life has gone horribly wrong. Bad habit to pick up because it's not cheap. Bad habit to pick up that Amarone.
It's a lifestyle choice. You're stuck with it now.
It's a bull market wine, I'll tell you that much. That's for damn sure. If you're drinking Amarone on a Tuesday, stock market's been going up, you know?
Yeah, I only got like that Paso Robles money for now.
Paso's fine. Just don't drink the Pinot Noir from Paso. It's like overripe plum juice.
They have nice cabs though.
They do, and Zinfandel. Drink the Zin, and they do Zin ports in Paso. So they make like a port wine style with Zin. Lovely with a little dark chocolate with a little sea salt. Woo-hoo. Can you throw up, please, slide 7, if you will, Mr.
Where's your head at on the dipping the wine glasses in the chocolate stuff? You ever done that? We were at a place the other night. They're dipping the glass in a chocolate dip and then pouring wine in it, and you're like licking the chocolate off the rim as you drink the wine. It wasn't really for me.
No, you don't want to do that.
Okay.
Come on.
I did it.
Come on. Keep it classy around here. Come on. What are you doing? We don't do that. Like, you know, like these serial killers that put orange juice in their champagne. Like, are you fucking crazy, dude? What are you doing?
I mean, it was like cool, like presentation wise, like it was neat. I've never seen that.
No. That's some Haitian shit. You don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't need that in your life. Come on. Okay. Come on. The French would be appalled. Don't the Haitians have like some French in them? Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What is that?
There's
Tell them to go back to their roots. It's unacceptable. Shout out Haitians. They do a lot of things very well. That apparently is definitely not one of them. Can you tell me how this is the S&P 1500 of Europe? So this includes the large, the mids, and the smalls. This is the Euro Stoxx 600, a broad measure of European equities, breaking out to new all-time highs. Steve Strazza, they are telling me, that market breadth is deteriorating.
No.
But if you were to, if one were to go and count, which I happen to very much enjoy the art of counting, and you were to count, you would see that, in fact, it is not breadth deterioration, but in fact, expansion.
Yep, I totally agree. We've discussed this dynamic before, where it will sometimes feel like breadth is deteriorating because maybe people's accounts are going down because the stocks that are most owned are no longer leading the way that they were.
Great point. It's a great point.
Meanwhile, all these obscure areas of the market, international stocks, value stocks, cyclicals, things that have been left for dead for, frankly, a decade or more, all of a sudden that's where the expansion is occurring. But if that's not in most people's accounts, that's not going to be the story that you read on the news. So I think that's what's playing out right now in real time. You got to own some different things in this market. Expand your horizons. Own some ex-US stocks. Bring value back in your portfolio. A little GARP, go for it. Own some commodities.
Would you call it a little what?
A little GARP.
GARP?
A little GARP.
What is GARP?
A little growth at a reasonable price.
Stop. That's a thing?
Oh, sure. Big thing.
Hold on. GARP, GARP?
Yeah, it's for the people who can't pick between growth and value. It's solid.
Hold on. Is this like a thing you invented, or is this like a thing?
JC, you've heard of this. Come on.
GARP?
You've heard of
I
GARP.
have never in my entire life heard of such a thing.
You don't know GARP?
GARP.
You don't know GARP?
Chat knows all about
the
it.
chat knows GARP.
GARP, growth at a reasonable pace?
No, price.
Growth at a reasonable price?
We don't want them to grow too fast. But my point is, so GARP, but you make a good point. GARP used to be something you heard all about, right? But that's what I'm saying. These old themes, they come back. And I think we're going through something like that now. And in other words, what I'm talking about, these trends that have been in place forever, mega over small cap or large over small, growth over value has been another big one. US over the rest of the world. There's been no reason to own ex-US stocks for a very long time now from a leadership or an alpha standpoint, right? If those things start to change, most people's portfolios are probably not ready for it. And guess what? All three of those massive secular relative trends are likely to shift at the same time. How about that?
I really like growth at a reasonable pace.
You should pitch it. Funny. Pitch it to your fund manager friend.
No, the funniest things come when like you know what I'm saying? Like the funniest shit happens when you don't know things, right? Like in hindsight, growth at a reasonable pace is ridiculous. That is funny. See, Billy agrees. Larry Thompson says GARP is why Eli Lilly ripped 20% over the last 2 weeks. Shout out, Larry Thompson.
Oh, he's still on.
I love how the internet thinks I'm short Eli Lilly. First of all, I'm long Eli Lilly. People think I'm short Eli Lilly because I presented it as a potential short opportunity on Josh's show, and it gets a lot of viewers. That show, like they're like a big deal now.
No, but I'm like you. I'm short in my mind.
I mean, I'm not short in my mind or in reality because it never broke down, so there's no reason to short it. I'm actually long the stock, so I'm not short. I hope it goes to the moon.
You can't say that. That's bullshit. You're not long Eli Lilly.
I am long Eli Lilly. You want me to tell you how many shares I own?
If you own it indirectly through an index, it doesn't count.
I do not own it indirectly through an index. I own the common stock, and I will tell you right now how much I own. I don't think it's like anything meaningful. I'll tell you right now. Hold on.
That's ridiculous. You shouldn't.
I shouldn't own Eli Lilly.
No.
Because Strazza doesn't like it, so I shouldn't own Eli Lilly. Let's see.
The risk reward for these stocks right now is just no bueno. You're taking on too much risk to own these things up here.
I own, are you ready for this? I own an embarrassingly number of shares. I own 17 shares. I own 17 shares of Eli Lilly, which comes to, yeah, no, I mean, it's not meaningful, but I mean, I'm long. I mean, I own some. I have $14,790 in it. I've made almost $10,000 in it. That's pretty good.
You buying this dip in the Merc?
It's pretty nasty, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's not for me.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Healthcare's shaping up here, though. Looking better. No?
I mean, couldn't look any worse.
Fair?
You know what that's called, my friend? It's called sector rotation.
Yeah.
Rotation.
Sure. There you go.
Are we bringing in the Fonz? Are we bringing in Fonzarelli?
I think we should.
Bring him in. Bring him out.
Yeah,
Bring
he's
out.
here.
I think we should.
Bring out the Fonz, DJ.
China.
Oh, Mr. Fonzarelli.
Hey guys,
I heard
what's
you
up?
are moving to New York.
Who said that?
I heard that you said that the bagels in Venezuela suck so much that you're moving to New York.
Yeah, we don't even have bagels here, basically. We don't eat bagels.
You have Jews in Venezuela? No, right?
What?
You have Jewish people?
Yeah, like a small community, but
Really?
yeah, we have.
Oh, that's interesting. Do they have Cubans in Venezuela or no?
No, not too many. No.
Fonz heard rumors about some sort of NYC office situation and got very excited the other day.
Pat is looking for office space.
Pat's looking for a roommate
That'll
too.
be amazing.
Oh my God! Could you imagine Alfonso and Patrick moving like a week later? Alfonso gonna be like, "I'm out of here. This guy's crazy."
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for it. We'll see.
Dude, Fonzarelli in New York will be something.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a arepas bar on 9th. It's like just off 2nd Avenue. It's right next to it's right next to the lobster roll place. And so it's an arepas bar called Caracas in the East Village.
Nice.
And then they have a menu of all the arepas with with all kinds of filling, with all kinds of stuff. Like you can do it with arroz moros and maduros and lechon. So like kind of like a Cuban, arepa, if you will.
It's like a good mix.
They got all kinds of stuff. Like you can just pick your poison. I mean, to me, it's a little aggressive, Like I grew up eating arepas with just cheese in the middle.
Yeah, like the standard. Yeah.
Like a standard, you know what I mean? And I like those. I used to get them at the Dolphins games when I was a kid, believe it or not.
Oh, nice.
So a funny thing happened last week, right? So when we do these things, we get together, we have like a schedule that we know going in, we're not going to follow, right? So like we know that going in. Like Spencer's like, well, yeah, I'm like, just send it. Who gives a shit? We're going to change it anyway, right? So we know that going in. So for whatever reason, I was being hard and being like, no, I want Alfonso to go in the morning and then Louis will do crypto in the afternoon. I forget why, but I had a reason. And then I guess Louis was leaving early, so Louis had to go early, and then Alfonso switched to the afternoon, whatever. And I was like, all right, whatever. So all of a sudden, Fonz is going into his thing about international equities, and he's going into this Chinese internet conversation and Chinese tech stocks. Who walks in? Dan Ives, right when Fonzarelli is just like crushing Chinese tech stocks. And he's like, this is great. I'm like, I know. And in my head, I'm like, we didn't plan that at all.
No, it wasn't
we should have been talking about cryptocurrencies is what we should have been talking about, or ETFs or whatever it was that we were going to be talking about.
Yeah, it wasn't expected, and it was amazing. Yeah,
it was awesome. He loved it. I mean, and I felt bad. I didn't want to like just throw him, like start drilling him with questions for an hour just because he was there. But he was just like, he's like, I'm in. What are we talking about? So it was fantastic. So let me ask you this. So you went in bullish Chinese stocks. You were showing, rotation out of India into China.
Right.
You gave Strazza his flowers. He nailed that. What do you think about what Dan Ives was saying in conjunction to the charts that you were showing? What stood out from his thoughts there during that event?
I mean, my first impression was the sentiment about sentiment.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Chinese equities right now. Nobody wants to buy them. So, that's like a plus for being bullish China. I'm bet against the crowd. So I think that, and I think he mentioned that even in China or in Asia, it's even worse. That sentiment it's even worse.
I didn't see that coming. Because as bad as sentiment is in America, the last thing I expected Dan Ives to come out and say is that sentiment in Southeast Asia is even worse.
Yep.
You know,
All right, so what are we seeing here?
Alibaba's just been a tremendous vehicle. Sometimes it's just you could just keep it simple and go with the big boys. Sorry, I'm just looking at the price action today. China's absolutely.
I just thought it was interesting what Ives was saying about how, like, for us, we're an American, so like even if we have some Chinese exposure, our U.S. tech exposure has made us so much money that we we have like a bad taste in our mouth towards China, but like we're doing fine. But in Southeast Asia, in a lot of these cases, they're forced legally to own these Chinese stocks in at least a third of their portfolios. So they're watching the U.S. stock market. Literally, the Nasdaq just doubled in 2 years, and they're stuck in this shit show of a Baidu, right? So like our bad taste in our mouth is like diluted with all the money we're making. So like it's easy to forget. Over there, they're losing money. They're watching us make so much money. So they're just really pissed. So love that, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. The thing, I think this chart tells a good story about rotation within emerging markets. FXI those. I think more outperformance from China might come this year. I really do. Today at the opening, these Chinese stocks are ripping higher. FXI, they got PDD, TAL, looking so good. And look at copper today too. In the past few days.
That's right.
So that's have huge implications in China. Gold making new all-time highs. I think copper is the next to follow, alongside with silver. So it's like the perfect puzzle to bet on Chinese equities.
And I thought it was
Alfonso,
interesting. I asked him that. I was like, "Man, why do you think that copper's trading with China?" And he says that China is the biggest consumer of copper in the world.
And because it's always been that way. And we forget now because we view China as this large cap growth index, which it really is. It's so tech heavy. But the move today and even recently from copper is confirmation of the price action that we're seeing from these Chinese stocks. Definitely.
Yep.
Dawson.
Freeport's up 5%.
I love you, brother, but you're wrong. He said literally no one hates Chinese equities at the moment. Are you kidding me? Come on, Dawson.
See, there's just we have such a long runway, I think, for this trade. It's really just getting started, and it's more than China or FXI outperforming EM. That's a low bar. If you look at the relative trends versus all world index or even the S&P 500, shaping up really nicely here.
Yep.
If you're not taking your U.S. tech stock profits and plowing it into these Chinese tech stocks right now, I think it's a mistake.
And it's not only on China. We're not seeing that kind of rotation, for example, out of India into China. But look at the year-to-date performance. I know we're only in February, but the best performing countries: Colombia, Brazil, Chile. That speaks. Natural resources, copper, energy too. So it's more of that rotation we have seen in the past couple of weeks and months, coming out of big tech. So yeah. Those are working so far this year.
What's your favorite Chinese stock right now? I know we just put some trades on yesterday.
I mean, I know I remember that I mentioned KC in New York City. This one has been a leader in the past few weeks. It's looking great. I like the PDD, honestly. I think the risk reward profile it's excellent, to be honest.
And then Pin Dao Dao is the Temu.
Yeah.
The ones that are trying to sell me fucking saunas on Twitter or whatever.
Don't buy anything from there ever.
Oh no, but they look so high quality. Don't they look so high quality, these items?
Yeah.
And they're so inexpensive. How do they do it? Is it just like sweatshops and cheap materials?
I don't know.
Probably.
There's a lot of these interesting online retailers and brick and mortar retailers. Rick was talking to us about that MNSO.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing about China. When China works, it's a lot of fun. It's great for market participants because we have so many options. China's pretty vast in terms of like investment options. Sure, they're all ADRs, but you can cover a lot of ground with basically the vehicles available. Even from a fund perspective, we have some great ETFs. You could trade double levered Chinese tech stocks. God bless America. So,
you know, I said something the other day and I didn't think twice about it, but I've been thinking about it a lot because I'm not into the hyperbole unless like I'm joking, but I wasn't joking. Was that Chinese stocks could double this year?
100%. Yeah.
Like that's a very aggressive statement that I haven't taken back. I've been thinking about it a lot because I thought it was a little aggressive because it wasn't a joke. I was being sincere. Still am.
What was the NASDAQ 100's best annual performance recently?
Oh, hold on.
Did we get close to that? Because if the NASDAQ 100 could get close, Chinese tech indexes could at least double.
Hold on. Look what I have.
Just saying.
Shout out to the Hirschmeister.
Build your dreams. The Tesla of China's out here up almost 10% today. These stocks are screaming higher. There's a relentless bid for Chinese equities right now.
Yep.
Monthly closes, annual NASDAQ composite monthlies. All I got are monthlies. Where are the annuals, Hirsch? NASDAQ annual highs, lows, closes, but it doesn't say the returns. I got the high, lows, closes, but not the returns. Stock market action. I got the Dow returns, but not the. Oh, here we go. Oh, these are composite, not the Qs. We're gonna have a little chat with our friend here,
Jeff Hirsch.
Yeah, he goes composite, not Qs. Doesn't he know that the kids these days only care about the Qs?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's old school with his composite. Honestly, like who looks at the NASDAQ composite? I mean, seriously, right? Right? Am I wrong? Am I just being a dick or no?
Oh, of course the fundamental crowd loves China right now. Speaking of GARP.
So we don't know what the best returns are for the Qs. We'll go back and look. We'll test it. Make a phone call to Jeff Hirsch. Tell him that the kids don't care about the composite. You got to go Qs. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's not going to do it though.
You don't think so?
That's his data set. That's what he's been doing.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't like it.
Jeff Hirsch, the natty daddy. Yeah, he does like nat gas.
Ooh, Jeff Hirsch, the natty daddy. I really like that. Who came up with that?
Me.
You did.
Yeah. Should I text him?
You're not that clever. That was really good.
I'm going to text him after the show. Hey, natty daddy.
Natty daddy. Wow, I like that. All right. All right, final trades, then we'll do a little recess and go. Alphonse, what do you like? What's the trade?
I just think Strazza. I mean, I like the TAL ripping this morning, but I mean, we have to mention the hymns up almost 9% today. It's been so strong, perfect. Big breakout, retest, and bounce. So when you see this kind of stocks, go up every single day, like 8%, these are the vehicles.
There's some very erect momentum going on in the HIMS chart right now. It looks great. It looks really good. Mine's copper. You could do it a number of different ways. Southern Copper's been the best one. I think that makes a lot of sense here. I think you get a lot of international that way, but Freeport's my go-to. You have these vehicles over the years that when I'm buying copper, it's hard for me to not be buying Freeport calls. You get what I'm saying, JC? Like, it's just where I think I'm supposed to go.
That used to be me and Tesoro. When I wanted to buy refiners, I'd buy the TSO, and it got taken away from me. It made me so. I'm still sad about it. That was a long time ago. It's still not over.
I just hate it when that happens.
I know.
Sorry.
It happens. They go on to stock market heaven. It is what it is. Peter Segura, I also like how Fonz's name is Charts. Just get right to the point. I also like that. Really, really big fan. Just a couple of fun facts. Richard chiming in. The Qs were up 79% in 1999, the year of our Lord. Also, more recent data, 54.5% in 2009, and more recently, post-COVID, you had 47% and change in 2020. in 2020. So 41% in 2019, 47% in 2020, 53% in 2023.
I
So
think they're
China doing twice that? Not out of the
Listen,
question.
I think they're going to be partying like it's 1999 in Hong Kong this year.
Woo!
Yeah.
My final trade is just buy China and shut the fuck up.
FXI or KWeb?
Just buy either one. Just buy China and shut up.
CWeb if you're feeling naughty.
I'm gonna mix in a little Perlman. Buy China and go take a walk. You know. Every time you think the world's gonna come to an end, you buy Chinese stocks and you go take a walk. How's that?
What was Perlman's tweet yesterday, Alfonso? It was so good.
About technical good being like a good technical analyst.
Yeah,
right?
steady head and some good TA.
Phil Perlman's exact quote was, "Egg prices are soaring." Nope, not that one. Yesterday, Phil Perlman.
The one about TA.
Competent technical analysis and a calm, cool mind have never been a more vital combination than in 2025. The age of noise.
It's good stuff. It's good
Yep.
stuff. Good stuff.
I like it.
And if you want to throw this up, Mr. Spencer Israel, if you want to throw up the new slide 2 there, that was a quote that Dr. Phil put. You could throw that up there on slide 2. Shout out Dr. Perlman. Says, one must have a mind of winter to regard the frost and the bows. The bows? That's a new word. The bows? I'm not going to read that whole thing. That's a word I don't know. Like these poets.
A haiku?
Yeah, like I feel like they like just walk around with a thesaurus. Like I don't have that.
Who wrote this?
This was a gentleman by the name of Wallace Stevens.
How did we start talking about poetry?
Because you know how Pearl Dog gets down with the poetry and whatnot, you know,
Right,
jazz
right.
and poetry.
Sure.
You know how he goes. All right, that's enough. Final trade. Shut the fuck up and buy China. Let's do a little recess. All right, Fonz, what do you got?
I mean, New York City is amazing. By far my favorite city in the world. Every time I go there, it's special. The vibes there are just incredible. So bullish New York City.
Bullish New York City. Me too. I'll double down on that. Very, very. I've never been more bullish on New York City, as a matter of fact. Mr. Strazza, not so bullish New York City.
I'm fine with it.
New
York's okay.
Strazza's like doesn't like cities. He never went to Chicago until recently. He's never been to New Orleans. Are you stoked about New Orleans?
I am excited.
I am super stoked.
I particularly don't like overcrowded cities.
Yeah. Well, we're going to New Orleans after Jazz Fest, so it's going to be like a little bit slower. You know, we're going to bring the craziness, so we don't need the crazy to be there. But New Orleans already has its own natural crazy. You're going to find a lot of similarities between Bourbon Street and Duval.
I've been told this a ton, so I'm excited to see it. Never been.
Seafood, spicier seafood, or New Orleans.
It's the Creole food.
Creole.
Yeah, Creole.
Yeah. Good stuff. So, everybody, we're going to be announcing the date soon, but just mid-May, New Orleans is going to be sick. All right. So last night, I was tweeting out about Calcio Storico Fiorentino, which is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've grown up going to sporting events, and I'm not like sheltered. This was bananas. So they do this once a year in Florence. It's like the third week of June. You can look it up. They don't sell tickets. It is crazy. It is absolutely insane.
This is barbaric, though. Come on.
It is indeed barbaric. We went to Florence and specifically planned the trip around this event to see if I could figure out a way to sneak in. We were like pre-gaming before. We didn't have tickets. I put it on Twitter. I was like, this was like 2018, I think. Mm-hmm. I was like, if anybody knows how I can get tickets for Calcio Storico, please let me know. And then somebody on Twitter, and it's still there. It's like Twitter's like a blockchain. It's like still there. They told me to just go to this one shady corner and like look for like a sleazy Italian dude selling tickets.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Sure.
And sure enough, there was a sleazy Italian dude selling tickets. And I'm like, there's no way these tickets are real. But I happened to be, because we ran into, coincidentally, one of my wife's friends from college. So my wife was a college cheerleader. So like their stud defensive end was there with his wife. And this guy's like, dude, jacked, like 6'4", like 250, like no body fat, like this guy. So like I felt so safe just being with him, right? Like, so
Okay.
you know, so then I was there talking to the shady guy and like negotiating the tickets. And I'm like, there's no way these are real. So then my boy, that goes by Nitro. So Nitro's like, JC, I'll stand here next to this guy and you go see if the tickets work. And sure enough, I go in there. I'm like, there's no way these tickets work. But my boy Nitro is like 10 times bigger than this little Italian guy. So I go in there. They look, the ticket thing is not working because it was a Fugazi ticket, obviously, as we knew. And the guy didn't care. He's like, oh, it's okay. You go in. And I'm like, come on, Nitro, we're good. And then sure enough, next thing we know, we're in there. This thing is so crazy. You guys have to go, because not only is it like the most barbaric football game, because there's no, like, the offensive line and the defensive line are beating the crap out of each other, right? And then before, like, the parade that goes on throughout the town before the game is like insane. And the get-ups, show some of these get-ups. The get-ups that these guys are like walking around, parading around in are like super old school. Can you throw up slide?
I don't know. I don't know if I would.
7?
I don't know if I would wear these MC Hammer pants if I had to like
Look
fight
at
for my
these
life
things,
in an
dude.
arena.
It is bananas. If you guys can go, if you guys find a way to go to Calcio Storico, ping me and I'll tell you what shady corner to go in and get the tickets. It's not the safest. I will say that. We were warned not to take the ladies and to just go men alone. And don't dress nice either. And don't dress like an American also.
No one's taking your advice because you're a crazy person.
Don't
the
dress like
level
an American. Don't look clean. Don't shave. Like, just look dirty and gross and you know, scary, right? Like, if you're like clean cut and like you're just not gonna. So the girls just went to like a bar while we were at the Calcio Storico. So then afterwards, after the game was over, right? Everybody rushes the field. So me and Nitro, I look at Nitro, I was like, all right, let's go rush the field. And it's like a dust bowl. So there's just like dust everywhere, right? And like I lost Nitro. So now here I am in like the pits with these crazy guys that they take from prison to play in this game, right? And like I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I can't find Nitro, like my bodyguard. And for like 10 seconds, like my heart was like up my throat, and then there's Nitro. And it was like my saving grace. It's like I hugged this man. I was like, protect me from these crazies. True story.
I can't believe you did this.
Dude, it was bananas. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But you know the move? I learned something. If you can get an Airbnb, because what happens is this is just a regular piazza in Florence. And then they turn it into like a high school football stadium with like bleachers, right? In the middle of the piazza. So if you can get an Airbnb, and then they don't sell alcohol because it's dangerous enough that they don't need to get people drunk. But if you can get the Airbnbs kind of like the 50-yard line club level, if you will, you basically have club seats for this. So you're safe. You got your own food, your own booze. That's the move. That's the move, to get the Airbnbs or VRBOs that overlook the piazza. I didn't know that until I went. And I saw other people and I was like, see, those people know what they're doing.
So Morgan was not here with you, correct?
Morgan had no interest. She thought it was crazy. She thought I was making the whole thing up.
Yeah. I mean, you say a lot of dumb things, but this is just insane.
This was bananas, dude. Calcio Storico Fiorentino. Highly recommend.
Okay.
It's like the 3rd week of June, something like that.
All right. Well, if anybody needs any further details or instructions, email JC.
Dude, bananas. I don't know what's crazier, this or the Tokyo, the sumo championships I went to in Japan. That was fucking crazy too.
Yeah, my recess can't compete with that. That was wonderful. I learned a lot, JC. Thank you.
Do you have anything, Spencer?
No, I don't. I was going to just echo your sentiments, Steve, about Sunday's game. I am also the least excited I can remember for the Super Bowl
ever.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. Go. I don't know. Go I don't even know. Go Chiefs. Go Eagles.
I don't even know either.
I
Like,
don't even
I
know.
might not
You
even
just
watch.
be like me, root for overtime.
I could
Okay.
literally care less.
I could do that.
I don't want overtime. I want to go to sleep.
Alfonso, do Venezuelans watch the Super Bowl?
No,
No,
not a
Definitely
big
not
deal
this
here.
one.
No,
nobody cares.
no.
What about the World Series? Do the Venezuelans watch the World Series? Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's always a Venezuelan in there.
Yeah. We only have a Venezuelan player in one of those teams.
I was gonna say because there's no Venezuelans in the NFL.
No, definitely not.
No,
It's
not
not
even a
sport.
kicker. Not even like a kicker somewhere.
No, I don't think so. And if
All right.
there one, nobody know him.
There was a Cuban once.
Really?
There was.
Martin Gramatica, right?
Oh my
That's
God!
That
Blast
doesn't
from the
sound
past.
Cuban. That doesn't
Didn't he
sound
have a
Cuban.
brother, Gramatica?
Yeah, there's two of
Yeah.
them.
He like broke his leg at a Giants game, famously.
I don't
remember
think those
being
guys are Cubans though.
Oh,
Grammatica.
sorry.
Cardinals.
It sounds Italian.
It's
I don't know.
not.
All right, we got to
All right.
work. All right, guys. Adios. Have a good weekend.
Smash the
Later.
like. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys on Monday, all right?
Adios. Calcio storico.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.